What is up, my party people? And welcome back to a new video. As you can probably already tell by the title of this video, I am going to be dipping my toes into a subgenre that I am very interested in called cozy mysteries. I have not really read any cozy mysteries, I don't think, but it is a genre that has piqued my interest ever since I took a detective fiction class my sophomore year of college. I will be whipping out my detective fiction notes for this video. So in this detective fiction class, we focused on specific subgenres of detective fiction. We talked about classical detectives, police procedural detective mysteries, hard-boiled detective, Avenger detective, feminist detective, and supernatural detective, and of course, cozy mysteries. And that is what I'm going to be focusing on today. So when I was specifically in this class, I wrote down that a cozy mystery is character-centric or has an amateur sleuth, is soft or gentle, and that a cozy mystery is fast-paced. I also wrote down two things that I don't really know that they apply for this video. One is that it's not really in recent years, and I'm going to be reading books from recent years because the cozy mystery genre is still alive and well. If you didn't know, there are still books being released. She's not dead. I wrote down plot-driven dash character development, and I don't know what I meant by that. Obviously in a mystery, we're going to be focused on the plot of the mystery, and then I don't know why I said character development. But anyway, I felt like that didn't cut it for what I thought a cozy mystery was. So I went on the internet and I found a couple other keywords, key themes, key things that make a cozy mystery a cozy mystery. So, according to Huffington Post, a cozy mystery takes place in a small fictional town that is close-knit. Author can make it have its weird quirks, its close community, and not have it be tied to a real location. They also said there is a limited suspect list, which I'm not sure if that is always the case for cozy mysteries. I'm not a cozy mystery pro here. I am 110% a newbie, but in classical detective fiction, there's usually a parade of suspects. So if there is a parade of suspects, can it not be cozy? Because it's too crowded? It's too crowded to be a cozy. What am I saying? Okay, yeah. So there's a limited suspect list. In a cozy mystery, there is nothing outrageous. In a cozy mystery, there is no sex, profanity, or violence. None of that kind of stuff happens on screen. Character relationships are at the focus, which brings me back to my note from my notebook, which is that character development, maybe I meant relationship development. And to quote the article I read directly, the sleuth or protagonist is usually a small business owner, a nosy retiree, a local priest, or even an animal. And something I have noticed in a lot of my looking at cozy mysteries, a lot of them take place relating to certain careers, like a bookseller or like a chef or whatever. So people have their own business, a small business. And I also noticed there are a lot of animals on the covers. There used to be a bookshop near me that had a whole aisle of cozy mysteries, and there were a lot of animal ones. And when I was in that class, my professor was really into reading the books that were like animals solving mysteries, and he loved to tell us about it. But I will not be reading any of those because for that class, I did actually read a book where animals were the characters, and you know, I wasn't really vibing with it. That wasn't really my scene. I am intrigued by the cozy genre as a person who lives a very cozy life. Now that we have our guidelines of a cozy mystery out of the way, I'm going to be telling you the 3 cozy mysteries I landed on for this video, and I tried to pick a range in a way. So I picked one book that is a super new release, one book that is relatively new and like lesser known, at least to me and like the booktube general, not like the cozy booktube corner. And I went for a classic mystery author who I will be disclosing shortly. But in my search, I did come across a couple cozy mysteries that I looked at but decided not to read. Some books were just not available at the library at the time, or I just didn't feel like purchasing them. But I could still potentially want to read them in the future. I found a lot of recommendations through Cozy Mystery Booktubers, and I will link a couple of the videos I watched below. So now to introduce the books. We'll start with the oldest book in the pile, and that is A Murder is Announced by Agatha Christie. This is a Miss Marple mystery, which I think makes it a cozy mystery. I'm not sure that all of Agatha Christie's books count as cozy, but Miss Marple is a little old lady sleuth. I think she's just your average woman who just picked up sleuthing on the side. So to me, that sounds perfectly cozy. There were a couple other books of hers that I thought sounded interesting, but this is the one that I found on Thrift Books. In this one, the murder is announced in the newspaper before it occurs, and it occurs. And that's all I know about it. So while I'm reading it, in my little reading vlog bit, I will be telling you what other elements of cozy mystery are in here, and if I successfully picked a cozy mystery. But yes, I have read a couple Agatha Christie, so I am excited to pick up a Miss Marple. I've never picked up a Miss Marple before. Next up, we have the most recent release, which is Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala. This mystery is about— and then my camera died. Hello, this is me editing, and I'm here to finish the intro. So to continue my train of thought, this book is about a girl who has just left college. She's dropped out of college. She's moved away from the big old city of Chicago and moved back to her little suburban town to help her aunt run the family restaurant. And something happens, and there's a mystery, and she becomes a suspect. And I'm gonna explain it a little bit more when I actually pick up the book. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. But yeah, I picked this book because it has the food element. It sounds cozy to me. It doesn't sound like it's anything super intense. I don't know if it's labeled as a cozy on like Goodreads. I'm in the future right now, and I've read it, and it's cozy, and I think it's cozy, and I really— spoiler alert, I really ended up actually enjoying it. So the last book I decided to pick up is called Marigolds and Murder by London Lovett. Yes, I do have it up right here. And yes, this one is labeled on Goodreads as a cozy mystery. You can't see my screen. Okay, whatever. But this book is part of the Port Danby series, and this is the one mystery that I got from like an actual cozy mystery booktubers recommendation videos. So this is the one that I am gonna take as the most cozy. Like, this is cozy mystery. Whereas the other two, I was kind of using my own discretion to find books that sounded cozy but also sounded like something I would really like anyway. This woman has— okay, I don't know what it's called, but she has this intense sense of smell. She can smell, like, if you're standing there, she could be like, that's a ketchup stain on your shirt. And perhaps that is something that happens in the story, and I've already started it and I just told you that. But yeah, so this story is like cozy. And really the whole thing about the nose was all I knew going into it, and that's all you need to know. I'm gonna tell you more about it when I read it. Let's just finally get into the video. Let's get out of this intro section and let's continue on. Hello. Arsenic and Adobo. This is the first cozy mystery I am picking up, and I am going to give you a little synopsis. So, first of all, cozy elements of the story I've noticed so far. Character-centric. It is from the perspective of Lila, who is the main character. She has a sort of Hallmark-esque story going on. She was studying in Chicago. She was studying for school, and she had a boyfriend who she was living with, and she caught him cheating. So she ended up dropping out of school and leaving her boyfriend and moving back home to her small town, which is another element of a cozy mystery. A small setting, a fictional town. This fictional town is called Shady Palms, and their weird characteristic is that there are fake palm trees lining the main street because the man who helped found the town, I guess, planted those there because he missed tropical trees, and real tropical trees could not grow in Illinois, which is where this fictional town is located. Another cozy mystery element is that we are following a small business. Lila is back home helping her Tita Rosie run the family restaurant, and within the first 40 pages is where we are introduced to this restaurant and what exactly is happening in this story. So in the town there is a guy who she previously dated when she was in high school named Derek, and he is a food critic, and he always returns to their restaurant, though he always gives them a bad review. And he comes in with his stepfather, who Lila has just learned is the landlord of the building where they are renting from for the restaurant. Derek with the landlord, Ed, come in and they're eating, and Lila and Derek get into a little argument, and she kind of notices that he's like sweating and looks unwell, and then he just collapses into his food. And from there he is taken away and they receive a call that he's died, and Ed, the landlord, thinks that there has been foul play, that he thinks that something in the food has killed Derek. That is where I am so far. I have a couple ideas of predictable endings, and I really hope that I am not able to guess it, but this is like really easy to read. I'm very intrigued to see where it goes, and it is definitely pretty fast-paced and cozy. So what happens next? I just spent the morning doing reading sprints with a bunch of lovely humans in the Throne of Pages Discord. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. I am like 43% through Arsenic and Adobo. And the more I read this, the more I really enjoy it. Sometimes there are parts in the writing style that I don't love, don't hook me, but then there are other parts where I'm super enthralled. The parts where food is being described, I am not a big foodie, so a lot of those don't make a lot of sense to me, but it makes me want to try all these new foods that they're talking about. There was one part in this book that was unexpectedly like super intense to me, and that was when the suspect, the sleuth, the main character, Lila, was being interrogated by the detective who is in charge of this case. His interrogation method was a bit aggressive, and it like made me nervous, and I was getting angry alongside Lila. So yes, I'm enjoying this, and I'm excited to continue. I finished Arsenic and Adobo a few days ago. And I ended up rating it a 3.75 stars. It was good. I liked it. I honestly would read more of the Tita Rosie's Kitchen Mystery. That's the series name. I would read more of those because I really did start to love the characters, and it is really character focused, which I have a feeling is something that is like relevant in cozy mystery series because the characters carry through all the books. And so I will say the vibes of it felt very Hallmark movie, which I have nothing against a Hallmark movie, but I will say that the writing style sometimes was like very simplistic to the point where I was like, whoa, that read weird. But that was like the one thing that slightly bothered me. The other thing that made me lower the rating was that the ending did not happen. Like the big reveal did not happen until the last like 10 pages. And it was not something I could have even fathomed. I didn't have, as a reader, enough information to solve it until the very, very end. So there was like one element I was able to slightly figure out, which I was glad about. And I'm glad I wasn't able to guess the total mystery, but there wasn't, if I were to like reread it or something, I would not have been able to see any foreshadowing because the information that you need to figure out is not all there for you, which I don't know if that's going to be a common thread in cozy mysteries, because if that is a common thread, that's not something I'm really interested in. But I will say I absolutely love the small town setting and the coziness, the way the characters are so important and clearly like developed. And I will say in this book particularly, I loved that it talked so much about food and that it had such a diverse cast of people. I just thought that was really nice and that made it enjoyable for me. So it was still an enjoyable experience. I still liked it. I've started the next book. It's called Marigolds and Murder by Lovett, and I got it for free on Kindle. It follows a woman who is just now starting a little flower shop in a small town called Port Danby. This is part of the Port Danby mysteries, and she has a very strong sense of smell, and her shop is right between a coffee shop and a bakery, and the coffee shop and bakery are owned by twin siblings, a brother and sister. Main character, her name is... They call her Pink because her shop is called Pink's. Hold on. Lacey Pinkerton is her name. But I can already tell that the environment of this town is super cozy. It's very small town vibes. There we've got the little small shop again. Quirky element, she has a pet crow. I absolutely love that. But yeah, I picked up this book because it was recommended in a Cozy Booktuber's recommendation video. And it was short, and this cozy mystery is the one that is probably the most fit to the genre, like, whereas the other two are like a bit outside of the genre, I feel like. This is like a tried and true cozy. It's cute so far. I've only read like 2 chapters, but do you like my Indiana Jones? I keep saying Indiana Jones. I'm serving up Tomb Raider right now. I kind of want to go solve a mystery. I don't even know if Tomb Raider solves mystery. What does Tomb Raider, what does she do? Lara Croft, that's her name? All I know is we used to have that video game on the Dreamcast. I liked to watch my sister play it. Marigolds and Murder. I'm 36% through the book and someone just now died. Like, there's just now a crime. And I feel like the last book, everything happened right away in the beginning and then it was a slow case. And this is like nothing's happening. Like, it's very much setting up the town, people, and the community. And it's very like atmospheric and I don't know. I want to describe it as very Hallmark movie. I don't know if this is me having preconceived notions about how cozy mysteries were gonna be, and that's why I'm just like, meh. They're kind of middle ground to me, not like blowing my mind or anything. Maybe I'm learning that I like things that are much more fast-paced. For someone who likes to have a cozy life, maybe I don't want to read about a cozy mystery. We're just getting into the mystery now, so we'll see. Oh, one last thing. The character in this book, Pink, Lacey, whatever her name is, it's like she came across a body, not by herself, but like she's like inserting herself into like the police search. The audacity. Wouldn't that make them suspect her? I don't know. Anyway, let's get back. Straight up not reading. Bagel time. Well, that's in there. Let's chat. Let's have a chat. Okay, so let's be honest here for a second. This cozy reading experience is being extremely extended because I just keep not picking up the books. This one on the Kindle, I'm not big time vibing, but it's a short book, so I should just finish it. And I really do want to pick up the Agatha Christie, and I might pick it up right now. I'm gonna look if it's on Scribd, because that would help me a lot. I could start it while I'm eating. It's on here, Queen mode activated. Okay, so I'm gonna put down the Marigolds and Murder one for now. And I'm gonna pick up A Murder is Announced. Like, I at least know I like Agatha Christie's writing. Yeah, let's do that.
By Agatha Christie. performed by Amelia Fox.
I don't know if this is a thing, but are there audiobooks that have scoring behind them? Because I love a good composer. I love a good little Alexander Desplat moment. I love a little composer moment. Are there audiobooks that have music? And if there are, tell me what they are. I want them. I started listening to Murder is Announced, but I had to get a notebook because, woo, there is a parade of characters. I literally am in one chapter and there were like several parts in the chapter and it was all different people. And I'm not gonna remember them all. In Arsenic and Adobo, the main character, which I was calling her Lila, but in the book, towards the very end, they correct that her name is actually supposed to be pronounced Lila. In that, you know, when she was poking around in the mystery, to me it made sense because she was a suspect and she was trying to protect her family. But in Marigolds and Murder, this woman, who's the main character, is just being nosy. And I feel like she has quite the audacity to like butt in and think, oh, I have a great nose. Like, she has her strong sense of smell. And so she's like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna help solve this case. She's like, you know, I'm gonna just interject myself into this case. I don't know, it's kind of irking me, which is not fun when you're like kind of getting irked by the main character. I feel so bad, but I decided to DNF Murder and Marigolds because I was not feeling it. I wasn't feeling like picking it up. I wasn't interested. I literally didn't care about the murder at all. And it took so long for the murder to occur. Just like describing the town in detail. The character became insufferable. She didn't really have a reason to be poking around the crime scene, to be helping with the case. And yet she was like interjecting herself into the crime scene and the police investigation, which is, it's weird because I have read other books where people do that. I recently read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder where the girl is literally a teenager trying to solve a case and she does all this crazy stuff. It's like several-year-old case. But this was just like, you literally just found a woman screaming because she found a body and then you decide, I'm gonna go poke around and see what happened because I have a strong sense of smell and I think murder mysteries are interesting. I liked them as a kid. I don't know, I didn't really like her and I didn't really understand her reasoning for wanting to help because she just felt really nosy to me. I was like dreading to pick it up again because she was bothering me. So that's my bagel. So I decided to DNF it. But I just want to say that is the one that I was like, this is what a true cozy mystery is. I am still up to try reading a cozy mystery. I think this one, just the character is driving me nuts. The writing was fine. Like, I was not expecting like the craziest writing in the world. I feel bad, but I really didn't want to keep reading. I read 40% of it. That's a decent amount, and I never DNF books. And usually if I DNF books, I don't count them towards my reading goal because I usually DNF them after like 3 pages or something, like really short amount, but 40%, that's counting. I'm like halfway through A Murder is Announced. I did some reading sprints last night with Astrid. Hey, if you're watching this, from the Throne of Pages Discord that I'm always talking about, and it helped me get pretty far. So I'm like halfway. And you know, this is really a fast-paced. I love fast pace. And this one I'm actually interested in and I already have a theory. And I'm excited to keep reading. I feel like I always say that. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat my bagel. This is how far I am on A Murder is Announced. And I wanted to talk about the cozy elements because I thought this was going to be more of a cozy mystery than it is. I will say that it is fast-paced, which is something I mentioned. It takes place in a small town. The suspect list is pretty limited to like the people who were at the event. Although to me, there's still a lot of people. Like, it's a lot of people to remember. But also, Miss Marple, I thought the story was gonna completely follow her. But I forgot that like, I don't think Agatha Christie stories do that. from what I remember when I read a Poirot mystery, Miss Marple is not even like the main investigator. She's just like an old woman who likes to be nosy, basically. Just helps out by getting information and giving it to the police, I guess. And also, like, what's weird is that, so what's her motive for wanting to help solve these mysteries? Because in Murders in Marigold, I didn't like how nosy the main character was, but I guess she was more blatantly nosy, and this woman is like, people ask her for help, Miss Marple. So maybe that's the difference of what I like and don't like. But yeah, I thought Miss Marple was gonna be more prominent. She's not really been in the story that much, and there is a inspector who's the guy who's more leading the case. But I wonder if, like, at the end, Miss Marple's gonna be the one who's like, okay, this is what happened. Because I think that's what Poirot does. I think Poirot at the end always is like, this is how it went, and he like tells it all. But I feel like Miss Marple might be different because she's a different person, so we'll see. I finished A Murder is Announced. Not And Then There Were None. I read that a while ago, and I really liked this one. I think this and Arsenic and Adobo are kind of like in the same field for me. I almost rated this the exact same, but I decided to up it to a 4 because I had less problems with the writing style. And I really appreciate at the end of this book the way that everything is explained, every single detail and clue, even ones you may not have like realized were a clue, is explained in detail. Not like the villain explaining it all or anything. It's like the characters discussing the case after and explaining it to the people in the book who didn't understand it. So it doesn't feel like a Scooby-Doo unmasking where it's like, oh no, you caught me, I'll explain the whole thing. But yeah, I really liked this one. For the cozy elements, Miss Marple was not in this as much as I thought. I thought she was gonna be a much bigger part of the story, but like there's still a normal detective. She's just like an old lady who helps out, which I did not know. I don't know if that's how it is for all the books she's in. This took place in a small town. It was very fast paced. Everything happens, you know. And there is the limited suspects, which it's limited to the people who were at the party and a couple other people. Yeah, I thought this was really good. Something I wrote in my review was that I knocked the points down because there were a few conversations where I didn't understand what the heck people were saying, and I don't know if it's because the way they were talking because of the year it was, but like there were some conversations that I just like didn't make sense to me. And also there were a couple moments where it was like, look at this, and the person looks at it and it's like, wow, that's incriminating, and they like don't say what it is, or like something along, not exactly that, but something along those lines where it's like, here's a clue, but we're not gonna explain it to you, which is fine because like if you reread the book then you'll like understand it because you know what happens. But that just bothered me. But it is the kind of book where you could go back and reread it and like you can see all the signs hidden throughout it. I mean, maybe there would be a little bit of evidence in Arsenic and Adobo, but in Arsenic and Adobo it was like the main piece of evidence you don't get till the end, and it's like not something I think most people would be like, aha, this is what happened. I did like both of those books, and of course I stopped reading the other one, and I think that was a good choice because I was really not feeling it. So something I wrote in my review of this on Goodreads was that obviously like old books that are from a different era oftentimes have like racist or homophobic or whatever, like just not great, you know, beliefs in them that are just like not a fact, but they're just like there, and it's like not part of the story, but it's like that was So in this one, if you plan to read it, there is a lot of like negative conversation around like immigrants or like people who are from another country. Like for example, the cook is from another country and they're always like, oh, she's such a liar, you know how those people are, like referring to wherever she's from, which is terrible. Yeah, so there's a lot of like, oh, like immigrants are bad and like we don't trust them, stuff like that. And like every single character thinks like that almost. They're all like have the same thing, and there are a couple like lines that are like but obviously this is an old book. I mean, you can expect that from like old books. Something to know going into it. I think you can still enjoy these books while still criticizing them. Plus Agatha Christie is dead, so thus concludes my reading cozy mysteries. I really enjoyed the 2 books I finished. And you know, I would give another try to a recommendation from a cozy booktuber. If you guys want me to do a video, maybe I could be more specific in what I'm looking for and like show more of the process of picking one, or if someone has like a recommendation of what they think I might like. Something I want to do is I think it would be fun to turn this into like a little series thing where I try reading subgenres, because cozy mystery is a subgenre of mystery. And so if you have any ideas of like specific subgenres, let me know. I have a couple in mind, one of which I can't remember the name of, but it's like books that are written all in like letter form, so it's like letters back and forth, and it has a certain name. I found it on Goodreads, and I have a couple other ones, but I can't remember them right now. But if you know of any, or like your favorite book is a subgenre of something, let me know. Thanks for coming to my channel. I have been trying to upload once a week. This past week this video took longer than I expected because I didn't want to read that middle book, and I decided to stop it. I try to upload once a week. Don't have a specific day, but yeah, make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment. Hit that notification bell if you want to be notified when I post, since I don't have a specific day that I post. Thanks for coming to my Cozy Mystery TED Talk. Adios!